Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at this Aitor Jungle King 3 survival knife. Now, this is not going to be a review, we're just taking a look at it. And inside the box, you've got your knife, and that's it. So, there's very little that's actually written in English on the box. It has a little bit about the blades. It doesn't say what type of steel it is exactly. It says that it's a high carbon stainless steel with a hardness range of Rockwell 55 to 58 and is an improvement over 440C alloy. From what I read, this is one of those chrome moly vanadium blades. But anyways, here you go. So this is the Jungle King 3, and it's very different from the Jungle King 1 and Jungle King 2, mainly because it's much smaller. In fact, it's probably most comparable to the Mora Companion. You see, they're almost exactly the same size. Also, the Jungle King 1 and 2 have metal handles. This is plastic. It is a fairly strong feeling, fairly thick plastic, but it is plastic. The blade is held into the handle. There's actually like a little slot that it fits down into. And you've got this roll pin right here. And it's also glued into that little slot, which I may be able to show you once we pull everything out of here. But people say it's a fairly strong bond for what it is. Another thing about this blade here, I thought this was a sawback. It's not. It's actually just serrations. So it's kind of interesting that they would put a serrated bit on the spine of the knife. Normally you would see that in the first 2 inches of the blade, but I'm kind of glad they didn't, because it always messes up your carving. So yeah, interesting spot. We'll see how it works out. Now, on the back here, the Jungle King 1 and Jungle King 2 both have a compass, the same as this one, but on those it's on the inside of the cap. This one is on the outside, it's exposed. But the compass itself seems to be very good quality. I've tested it against my other compasses. It's just as accurate, and it's very responsive. If you try to, like, you know, wave it around and shake it up, it just goes right back to north. So it seems to be good quality for what it is. You also notice that the threads on the inside and outside here are brass. You've got a small brass insert here, so that's a nice addition too. Inside you got your survival goodies, and I have not found a good way to get these out without using a pair of pliers. Okay, so inside here we have two things. We've got this multi-tool that has a screwdriver end, it has a bottle opener, and a can opener. And it's made out of metal. And I can't bend it, so it seems to be fairly good quality too. And then you have this capsule full of goodies. So taking a look inside of here. Okay, inside of here you have some very basic survival stuff. You've got you've got this needle that's, you know, a fairly good sized needle. You have tweezers. You have thread. And you've got this little fishing kit here, and this actually surprised me. You've got 2 hooks that are a little bit larger, but they're not too big. That's the important thing. A lot of times they put hooks in here that are just a ridiculous size. Now you've got two hooks that are about a number 6 size, and then you've got this little teeny tiny one. I don't know if you can even see that, but a little teeny tiny, like trout sized hook. That's what I would always have in a survival fishing kit, something that can catch the smallest fish. You can either eat that alone or you can use that as bait to try to catch a larger one. You've got 3 lead weights here, and then you have what appears to be a fairly ample amount of monofilament fishing line. And finally, we have this, which is a scalpel blade. So, pretty basic. One thing that struck me as odd is there's no way to make a fire in there, right? There's no matches, there's nothing. Now that may be due to import restrictions, I don't know. But if you were going to actually use this, you'd probably want to put something in there to make fire. Alright, so moving on to the sheath here, you've got a basic snap closure here. The sheath itself is plastic. It has this design up here, which is a hiker or a camper. You can see he's got a little tent in the background, a campfire. The belt loop is pretty interesting. So a pretty standard belt loop, but if you don't want to take your whole belt off just to get this knife sheath on and off, you can just pull this right here, and then it opens right up. So you can slide this on and off of your belt easily. Now, with the Jungle King 1 and the Jungle King 2, you would have some more survival goodies down in here, but on the Jungle King 3, you don't have that. Okay, but what you do have is this little slingshot. There's your slingshot fork there, and on the back you have slingshot bands. Probably the longest portion of this video is going to be me playing around with this slingshot, trying to see if it's any good. But there you go. There is the sheath. Now, to look inside of the knife here, this is going to be kind of hard to see. Let me pull out my flashlight. I'm going to try to get up in there, and so you can kind of see that little pocket where the end of the knife goes. And you can see how far up in there that brass insert goes. There you go. Alright. Now with all that being done, let's show off this slingshot, huh? Yeah. So, you know, most of my viewers that have been around for a while know that I'm no stranger to the slingshot. I'm not a super awesome shot, but I'd say I'm pretty average, you know. Here in Tennessee, we can't hunt with slingshots, otherwise I would, you know, take it a lot more seriously. But I thought we'd start with this, because I just haven't seen anybody really play around with the slingshot on the Aitor knife very often. So we'll start with that. But yeah, just as a control here, here's one of my handmade slingshots. Alright. Load them back up and try it with a knife. It's kind of hard because we're shaded here and then we're backlit, but anyways, here's our knife, and just as it comes out of the package, so there's nothing else in here, but this is what you got. And the slingshot prongs are here on the bottom of the sheath, and then the bands are right here in the back. They're in there pretty tight. Alright. So you get these are the tubular bands, which I'm not a huge fan of. We just got to slide these over these little prongs here and hope that it doesn't snap back in our face. Okay. So you see these are just held on by friction, which is not a super secure plan there. Okay, now I'm going to take this leg strap here, just try to maybe wrap it around the handle a little bit. Maybe it'll stop it from flopping forward. But yeah, here we go. Here's our awesome survival slingshot, and this pocket here is plastic, so it doesn't have much give to it. Alright, got everything set up behind me here. We'll go out to about 10 yards and see if we can hit anything. You know what, I'm going to take the knife out of here. Reduce anything really wobbling around on us. And the ammo I'm using is just these little 9mm steel balls. Okay, I hit the tree and then it bounced back, so I'm going to use the same one again. And you see what happens to the prongs here. They tend to go forward, which is not a big deal. Okay. So I hit off to the left. Let me try to adjust. Okay, too high. So this plastic pocket right here, it's really hard to get anything in there and make it stay. Kind of shifts around in your hand. I don't know where that one went. I'm already walking up to like 5 yards here. Yes! Okay. Woo! Finally hit the bottle. There's our slingshot. It ain't easy. Alright, so our slingshot rubber already has a hole in it, so that's all we're going to get out of it. I don't like leaving that can out there. Alright, so however many shots that was, that's all the slingshot rubber had left in it. And this is brand new. Well, basically, I got this a year or two ago. But, you know, these shouldn't be difficult to replace. You know, I think the main contributor to bad accuracy here is this plastic pocket. And just like on the ends of the prongs here, which, by the way, they are kind of sharp. You might be able to file that down and maybe it wouldn't cut through the band so bad, but this pocket is just held on by friction, so it should be easy enough to replace. But if you replaced it with a leather one, you know, I wonder if that would really bring up the accuracy a lot. I don't know. You know, so I did eventually hit the wine bottle out here after a bunch of shots and creeping forward like every other shot until I was probably at about 5 or 6 yards. But when it did hit, you know, it did hit with some authority, maybe with a lot of practice. You know, it might be useful. You know, these rubber tubes are good for other things too, so trap making and other things of that nature. So yeah, it's a decent enough addition, I guess. Still, I think I'd rather have just a regular old handmade slingshot, but you know, if this is what you got, it's what you got. As far as the blade itself, it actually came pretty sharp. The handle is surprisingly comfortable for just a round handle. And this really digs into wood very well. Yeah, I expected it to be a little bit more, you know, clunky, I guess. But I feel like I've got good control. I don't see any problems with the blade at all. One thing I did notice is that the end cap here, that brass sleeve is not glued in, so the whole thing can pop out. That's okay, you know, it makes it easier to grab your stuff, but yeah. I guess it would be easy enough to glue it in, but anyways. There you go. I don't think that was intended. But yeah, this makes notches pretty easily. As far as the serrated end, the serrations are pretty sharp. Yeah, seems to work. I guess there's not much you can say about it, you know. I don't think I would really want to, you know, baton with it or do any kind of heavy chopping. I mean, just by the design and the, you know, the thickness of that blade and handle material and everything. It's pretty obvious it's not made for that kind of heavy use, but since we're here, we might as well try it. Alright. Point this down. Alrighty. So I'm just going to set this right about here, and we'll just try chopping. Alright, so should be full to chop. Well, get out of it. I ain't getting too far with it here, but it's holding up. It's not loosening up at all. Let's try to baton it. There's a knot right there. There you go. Not loose at all. Yeah. It has not loosened up at all. Alright, so what about a big old chunk of cedar? Well, we can try it. Worst thing that happens is it breaks, right? Try to go. This is really ridiculously large for this size blade. Bro. Still feels solid. Solid as a rock. Yeah. So, not bad. All right. So cool. That did a lot better than I thought it would. If you're wondering about the edge after all that, I haven't sharpened this at all. Still shaves hair. So yeah, cool. So yeah, here you go. That is the Aitor Jungle King 3 survival knife, and it did a lot better than I expected. So, Again, this is just a first look at the knife itself, not a review. I will save my first impressions for a separate video, but I wanted this video just to be all about taking a look at what you actually get with this knife. So there you go. Alright guys, that is all the time that I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, thumbs up.